Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really digging into something fascinating, something that might just change how you think about success. True wealth. Not just the numbers in a bank account, but the habits, the mindsets behind it all. Our mission, we're unpacking insights from a source called The Unspoken Habits of True Wealth.
Hmm?
And it really challenges the usual ideas. It suggests real wealth. It starts somewhere, well, somewhere quite different than you might expect.
Yeah, and that's why this is so important, I think. We often get caught up chasing the visible stuff, the
Yeah.
car, the house.
Yeah.
But this material, it highlights that the real foundation is internal. It shapes our choices, our happiness. Really, kind of makes you ask, is our definition of wealth actually holding us back?
Okay, let's dive right in because, it immediately questions what we think wealth is. True wealth, it says, isn't just about having millions or fancy cars or huge houses. It's deeper than that. It gives these examples, right? People with tons of money who are still stressed, insecure, maybe working so hard they miss out on life. And then others, maybe with less money, but they seem to have more freedom, more joy.
That contrast is key. And the source defines true wealth as having choices. Simple as that, almost. It's the power to decide how you spend your time, what you work on, where you live, how you live your life without money being this constant source of worry. So money becomes a tool for freedom, really, not just an end in itself.
Right, a tool for freedom. I like that. So if true wealth is about choices, where does that journey even start? Because it can't just be about piling up cash if you're miserable, right? Our source says it starts somewhere really basic, our money beliefs. The stuff we learned growing up, maybe without even realizing it. Things like money is evil, or good people shouldn't be rich, or that idea that wealth means you must have taken advantage of someone. The source argues these beliefs. They act like brakes. They actually stop us from moving towards wealth, even if we say we want it.
Absolutely crucial. It's less about finance class and more about psychology, almost. The people who build true wealth, this source suggests they see money differently, as a neutral tool, like energy. Energy you can use to build things, help people, make a difference. So that first big step, it's shifting how you see money from maybe an enemy or something suspicious to an ally, a potential force for good. Makes you wonder how many of us are pushing away what we want because of beliefs we didn't even know we had.
Yeah, that's powerful. And building right on that, this is where it gets really interesting for me. The source says the real start of wealth isn't about how much money you begin with. It's your mindset. It's all about what's going on inside your head, not necessarily what's in your wallet at the start, which kind of flies in the face of the idea that you need, a big inheritance or some lucky break. The source points to lots of wealthy people who started with basically nothing. What they had was, well, different thinking, determination, and maybe the courage to try things and, sometimes fail.
That's such a potent idea.
Hmm.
And this wealthy mindset, what is it really? It's described as always looking for opportunities, even when things look bad. Seeing problems as potential business ideas. It's about constantly investing in yourself, learning, growing, and thinking long-term, not just about the quick win. It's very proactive, taking control.
But hang on, that's a really compelling idea, mindset over capital. I get it. But for some listening, might that feel a bit simplified? What about real-world disadvantages, systemic barriers some people face? Does the source touch on that? Making the start with nothing idea way harder for some, no matter the mindset.
That's a really fair and important point to bring up. The source we're looking at, it does focus heavily on the internal factors, the things an individual can control. It doesn't dive super deep into those broader socioeconomic structures or systemic issues. But its core message, I think, is that wherever you start, whatever your circumstances, your mindset, your internal approach, is still your most powerful lever. It's about maximizing your agency within your specific reality, not pretending those external challenges don't exist. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. It clarifies the focus. Thanks. So, okay, mindset is the engine. What's the biggest thing that stalls it? The source names a big one. Fear. Capital F, almost. And not just vague worry, but specific fears. Fear of risk, fear of what people will think, fear of failing, or just that fear of leaving what feels, safe, your comfort zone.
It's a huge one. So how do people with this wealth mindset handle it? Well, the source stresses that taking risks isn't about being reckless. It's not gambling. It's about calculated risk-taking, which means doing your homework, researching, analyzing, and interestingly, having backup plans, plan B, plan C, maybe even plan D. So it's not about not feeling fear, it's about managing it through preparation.
Right, managing it, not letting it paralyze you.
Exactly. That difference between fear and, let's say, prudence or caution. They feel the fear, sure, everyone does, but they've developed ways to manage it. Critically, they don't let fear make the final decision for them. They look at the potential downside, yeah, but they focus on how to maximize the upside by dealing with the known risks. It's an active process.
Okay, so that leads perfectly into the next point, which kind of goes against how many of us operate. The source says, don't wait until you're ready to start, which hits home for me. You know, that feeling of needing everything to be perfect before you take the leap. Planning, waiting for the stars to align.
Oh yeah, the analysis corrals. Yes.
Exactly. And the source basically says, look, waiting for 100% ready, you'll wait forever. That moment probably never comes. So this idea, start before you're ready, it's about action. Learning by doing, understanding that making mistakes, that's just part of the process, not a sign you should stop. I know when I first started this deep dive, I felt totally clueless. But just starting, even messy, taught me way more than waiting would have.
That's a perfect example. It's exactly that iterative growth the source talks about. People building wealth, they seem to get that perfection is like the enemy of actually getting anything done. They take that first imperfect step. They use what they have, adapt as they go, tweak things. It's dynamic. It's learning from the real world, not just theory.
Yeah.
Like actually getting in the car instead of just planning the road trip forever.
Ah, yeah, good analogy. Okay, so if starting messy means you will make mistakes, you'll hit bumps. How do they view those setbacks? This part I found really powerful. The source calls it failure, the greatest teacher.
Important reframe.
Yeah, because it pushes back on the myth that successful people are just lucky or never fail. The source is clear. They fail, they face obstacles, they get disappointed, just like anyone. The big difference is how they see it. Failure isn't personal, it's data.
Exactly. Data.
It shows what doesn't work. It builds resilience, makes you tougher mentally. It's like a tough class, but one you learn a lot from.
And they don't just survive failure, they actively learn from it, extract value. They analyze what happened, kind of objectively, figure out the lesson, and apply it next time. Shifting from I failed to that approach failed, what can I learn? That's a huge mental shift. Makes you think, are we learning from our own stumbles or just feeling bad about them?
Good question. Okay, so moving on from internal stuff like fear and failure, the source also talks about comparison, which, let's be honest, is a huge trap for so many of us today.
Oh, definitely. Social media doesn't help.
Right. But the source suggests a different kind of comparison, the right kind. Compare yourself not to someone else online today, but to yourself yesterday.
I like that. Internal benchmark.
Exactly. Because constantly looking at others, the source says it just leads to feeling bad, losing focus on your own path. But wealthy people, they focus on their own continuous improvement. They ask, am I a little better today? Did I learn something new? Did I grow? It's personal progress.
That creates such a healthier, more sustainable drive, doesn't it? Focuses on your own journey. And how do they actually do that? Make that progress day by day. Well, the source outlines some daily habits of wealthy people. Let's break those down a bit.
Okay, yeah. What are they?
First off, investing in themselves continuously. This isn't just casual reading. It's actively seeking out knowledge, taking courses, learning new skills, strategic self-improvement.
Right, always learning. Makes sense.
Second, building networks, but strategically, not just collecting contacts. It's about connecting with people who are also growing, sharing knowledge, finding opportunities together, real collaboration.
Community and connection, got it.
Third, financial planning. And this is more than just budgeting. It's tracking everything, planning investments carefully, and crucially, working to create multiple income streams. Diversification.
Okay, building resilience there too.
Fourth, healthcare. Seems basic, but they see good health as fundamental. It's about having the energy, the mental clarity, the stamina for the long haul. Health is wealth, literally.
Can't argue with that. Foundation for everything.
And finally, using time valuably, being really intentional about where their time goes, focusing on the high-impact stuff, the things that really move the needle, delegating or ditching the low-value tasks, time leverage.
Wow, okay. That's a very clear picture. What an incredible deep dive this has been. So, wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway for everyone listening? Our source really emphasizes wealth isn't just luck. It's not random.
Not at all.
It's the result, the source says, of consistent ways of thinking, consistent attitudes, and importantly, consistent actions. It's about changing those core beliefs, managing fear, starting even when you're not ready, Learning from failure, competing only with who you were yesterday, it starts inside first.
Yeah, if you zoom out, it becomes really clear. True wealth isn't some finish line you suddenly cross. It's an ongoing journey, right? An internal transformation built day by day through all those small intentional choices and actions, they add up. So maybe the final thought for you to ponder is this. Which one of these unspoken habits really resonated? Which one could you maybe start integrating, even in a small way starting today, to move closer to your own definition of true wealth?